Hi, this is Del Morgado from The Del Morgado Show, and you're listening to Droids Canada Podcast.
This podcast is a proud member of the Points of Interest Podcast Network. Visit us today at poipodcast.com.
His eardrums were scientifically altered for world peace. His ears are more finely tuned than yours or mine. He can listen to a podcast from a mile away. He is the most dedicated podcast fan in the world. I do not always listen to podcasts, but when I do, I prefer the Tangent-Bomb Network. Keep listening, my friends.
You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows like the one you're about to enjoy, visit electronicmediacollective.com. And now, our feature presentation.
Warning. Listener discretion is advised.
That means there's a lot of fucking swearing.
Hello.
Yeah, I mean, it's a complicated story, but we're in the Droids Canada podcast bunker. That's right, you're listening to Droids Canada on droidscanada.com, also on Tangent-Bomb Network, Stitcher Radio, Laughable. Why isn't Dan doing this? Because he didn't come to the fucking podcast. iTunes, no longer SoundCloud, Podbean is now what we use. Electronic Media Collective, Podest Addict, Google Play, whatever the fuck people listen to shit on Windows. And Point of Interest Podcast, and of course, droidscanada.com. I am in the studio. Excited, let me tell you, because I have someone on the show that I have, well, I don't say I haven't spoken to in a long time. I've spoken to on and off, here and there, where we bump into each other. And it's he's a lifelong friend. I would say 2 decades. No? 3.
No, 3 for sure.
What?
Since St. Mary's, man.
I was 5 years old 3 decades ago.
Ah,
All right.
you're still fucking old.
Yeah, I guess. But point is, we are sitting in the studio in my apartment. See what I did there? Make myself sound a little bit important. And Dan is not in because he is actually at work. Surprise. No one is. But my friend, longtime friend, 3 decades as he claims, I will believe him. I do have a bad memory, so that's why I believe him. My friend Mark Belanger, he is a filmmaker. We grew up together making shitty to mediocre. Is that good? Is that good enough?
Shitty, mediocre, still shitty. Yeah.
Still shitty. Horror films. And he made his own. You have a couple live actions on it, like full lengths done underneath yourself.
30 minutes. 30 minutes
underneath the band. Originally, we had a company back in 1997. 7? He whispered 7. It's okay. It's okay to say it, man. It's okay to correct me. I'm old. I don't remember shit. We started a company called Rockem Productions.
20 years now, man.
I actually remember. How we came up with Rock'em Sockem. Do you remember?
If I remember correctly, it was in your bedroom.
Well, that's weird.
Weird.
That is weird.
I mean,
no, because it says on the back of Mortal Kombat 1, the VHS tape, said this is a Rock'em Sockem movie or whatever. Because we couldn't figure it out. We were trying to figure it out for the longest time when we want to make our own production company. But do you remember why we started our own production company?
Yes and no. We kind of wanted to branch out just the two of us.
And?
From a certain person.
You got it right. We were working with a fellow compadre. We will name him Ike. Ike?
Ike's a good name.
Ike's a great name.
Maybe Mike and Ike like the candy.
Mike and Ike. Oh, no.
No.
What the fuck?
Is it raining up here or what?
I don't know. Someone let their kitty cat?
Ike's good.
Yeah, Ike. Ike Bilson.
No, man.
No, what? No, what? No? Okay, well, I mean, whatever. Anyways, long story short, we had a fallout, disagreement, difference of opinions.
More Todd and Ike.
Well, you know what? Was that during Director's Cut?
I believe it was.
My first full film that I never finished.
It was after we attempted Resident Evil.
One of the many times we attempted Resident Evil. That was 3 years of shooting. I have all the footage still.
Now remember, people, Todd has a bad memory. I'm probably going to be bringing up a lot of the points here.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. So, and you've gone on and done your own production in some ways. You've come up with your own movies.
After we did our short films with Rock Sockem. We went and did. Well, Todd was involved with Turn for the Worst and Student X, and then I did Critical Innocence in 2002.
That's right.
After that, life happens,
Mm-hmm.
and then I eventually started working at the racetrack as the Fort Erie racetrack in Fort Erie, Ontario.
Yeah.
As the television director for about 5 years.
Yeah.
I did some very minor work with some people I can't say, and yeah.
Some people.
Don't worry, it's not Ike.
It's not. No. Some people can't even talk about. It's a
Yeah.
very dark period of his life. Hey, trust me, I can tell you a dark period of my life. This morning.
Every
when
year's a dark period in your
going
life,
to the
man.
bathroom was dark period. I mean, what?
Let's turn the light next time.
No, Jesus Christ. I think it's great to have you on the show because a lot of people never. I've never talked about my personal life before in any way, shape, or form. I'll make a hazmat joke about my ex-girlfriend being a gold-digging bitch. I'll make that comment, or my other ex-girlfriend where she is an alcoholic, pill-popping twat. I will say,
you pick the winners, don't you?
I attract dumb. Oh, I forgot. We actually had a moment. I don't remember what podcast is. If I can find it, it was slightly a tribute to you.
Oh no!
It was us driving home from I don't remember which convention of us constantly throwing back Spaceball references at each other the entire way home. Because AJ always does. When would soon be now? Oh no! When would now?
When will then be now?
Soon. And
What do you mean soon?
and then randomly be like, keep firing, assholes! Yogurt! Or we do the one spot of ludicrous speed, go!
Spaceball is such a classic.
Like, honestly, I always...
that's one, as much as sequels suck, that is actually one franchise I would love to have a sequel.
Well,
to.
they always keep...
teasing it.
Yeah, they keep saying, the quest for more money, as they always say. But you know what? Everyone's getting up in their years. And I think...
I still keep up in my movie news and stuff.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We'll get to that. But the filmmaking aspect really took us through a lot of times in our lives, especially through high school.
I think, when we started doing, our films from, 96 on, that kind of really bonded us and shaped a lot of our lives, both of our lives,
right.
A lot of stuff.
I mean, I think the one bucket list thing that I never completed was my own film. I never did, and there was always something that
it's
stopped
funny because, most of the audience doesn't know, when we started Rock Sockem, actually one of the first things we ever did was Mortal Kombat back in the summer of '96.
Yeah, but
with Ike.
But that was like a shared thing, though.
No, but as I was going to say, after that summer, originally Resident Evil was supposed to be your film until people took it over, and did stuff and all that, and then after Resident Evil, we attempted another movie called Director's Cut, which was actually if that would have been completed,
don't tease the tip here, buddy. It was okay. It was. I don't even. I really, and I probably do.
We did some better deaths in that movie than we did Resident
Evil.
When
we crushed Talasi's head remember that when we ran over his head? That was kind of cool. And that was the thing, though, is that back in 96, 97...
The kids, we had to do a lot of things practical, not like the...
It's not the CGI world how it is now.
And I'm glad we learned in that era.
Yeah, and I have to tip my hat, and I always will, and I have told him this on multiple occasions to my mentor, which was Chris Lucio.
Oh, Chris Lucio.
He does listen to the show quite avidly.
Hey, Chris. Smart.
He does listen to the show often.
I'll never forget
he always busts my balls, but he always sends me a message and tells me he loves me.
Yeah, I'll never forget when he killed me at his place as Jason.
Which time? Oh, Jesus Christ. My childhood, for people that understand, they're like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
My childhood consisted of death.
A lot of death. A lot of death, a lot of comedy.
Hey, what are you doing?
A bit of action.
Well, my brother was best friends with Chris growing up, and they would always make these really shitty films. But he taught me practical effects. And it's the really low-budget practical effects, like how to break an arm with branches and stuff, or
blood with Kool-Aid, which I still
Kool-Aid
do
blood. Yeah, I still do that to this day, with 2 jugs of corn syrup.
Oh yeah,
gotta have that.
Corn syrup with a hint of water. I mean, I said too much.
Oh Jesus! Don't let everyone know. Even though there's multiple internet programs out there that says, "Yes, the corn syrup, asshole." Get on top of it. Yeah, get on top of it. No, I think. A lot of things that really molded, I guess, Rockem Sockem did come from that time with Chris. I remember being in films when he did The Shadow.
The Shadow.
The Shadow! Richelieu, or just random films that he would just be like, come over, and then we'll just fucking make some
aliens
epic,
in the backyard.
Or we used to do stuff like that. I mean, that really shaped it. So back in 1995, I made a music video, air quotes. That was the first Mortal Kombat edition. Was 94 or 95, where it was me, you, and Ike.
No, it was 96.
Was it 96?
Yeah, did you did it?
I cried? No. No, it's got to be before that. It's got to be grade 8 because maybe 90. Okay.
Trust me, it was about April, May of 96. We did the music video, which to the original Mortal
Yeah,
Kombat
that's right. Okay, that was grade 8, and that's
then
right.
When
Yeah.
grade 8 teacher left, we did part 2, and then the summer we did 3.
And then the summer we did 3. So we did 2 music videos, which I can't even watch anymore. They're so bad.
Well, you know what? When me and Mike graded them, we did a good job with adding the special effects and stuff, which I don't think you've seen yet. Our re-edit, or have you? No, I gave you a copy.
It's somewhere. I mean,
it's okay.
Oh, by the way, your copy of Student X is probably being sold at a pawn shop.
I still got one. Luckily.
Well, what happened was that I sold all my DVDs when I moved up here.
Oh, and then it was in the batch?
Nice. Yeah, I took out Turn for the Worst in Mortal Kombat, but I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm going to watch a Turn for the... I'm going to watch...
Is Critical Innocence still in that pile, too?
My
gosh, what?
I don't remember. But I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I'm doing like watching Student X. I'm like, uh-oh. Well, but hey, someone probably paid $5. So technically, if someone pays $2 for it, you made money.
Well, they made money. I just...
Well, no, you made
bragging rights.
You can brag rights. You'd be like, I'm an accomplished filmmaker. Someone bought my shit.
Sweet.
There you go, man. That's how you got to look at it.
I'm out here. Have a good night.
That's what you should do, is just start randomly dropping off copies of your movies from years ago.
I just find his pawn shop and just take a picture of it in the merchandise area.
That guy was such a ripoff too. He's like, oh, I think when I sold him, it was somewhere in the neighborhood of like 1,300 DVDs, and he's like, the deal was $5 a DVD, and then he came here and shook me down and tried to get me for $2 a DVD, and
really?
I told him to get the fuck out.
I don't blame
and
you.
Then he's like, well, what about 3? I'm like, no. And he's like, what about 4? He's like, what about 4? I'm like, no. And he just looked at me. I'm like, you just drove all the way from Fort Erie to come buy these DVDs, and you said 5, and I have the message. And he's like, how about 475? You know what I said?
450.
495. You have a deal. And he just looked at me, and he actually calculated it. And I'm like, you just saved yourself a nickel. Okay, but you do a nickel times 1,200.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I was just moving, and I was paying off some bills and stuff like that, or whatever, and it just worked out in the end. But yeah, so you have a movie somewhere out in the world that someone may have viewed.
Nice.
With hopefully no dick pics.
Besides
on
my
it.
film teacher and her name, that's great.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, when we shot Mortal Kombat back in '96, and yes, it was after the original theatrical release. It was. Yeah, it was why we got into it.
95 or 94, right?
I still think it was, but apples to oranges better than Mortal Kombat Annihilation, and it was because that movie was so bad.
Were better than Annihilation.
Like, that's bad when a bunch of teenagers made a better Mortal Kombat film than the movies. And
really?
I'm just saying. I mean, did you ever watch that web series, Mortal Kombat Legacy?
No.
By Shinema?
I own it.
My God.
I've seen the Scorpion one. I've seen the Sub-Zero one.
That's what Mortal Kombat should have been.
Spawn, right? The guy who played Spawn,
Michael J. White, and 7 of 9 from Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah.
She was Sonya Blade,
yeah.
And you'd know everyone.
I know, yeah.
But it was really cool, and unfortunately, it didn't go anywhere. But and then when we went to high school, that's where kind of everything took off more. I think we went from having that.
We continued trying to focus on Mortal Kombat, and then
but I think that our audience grew. I think.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think the biggest thing we had when we were in that summer is that it was all friends that we kind of knew or hoped to work out.
Between me and the third person, we brought everyone we could together. Mainly me and you, not mainly like.
The thing is,
he brought a few people.
Here's the problem about him is that he never had an original idea in his head. You're dying. I know you're dying. It was everything like me and you would come together and be like XYZ, XYZ. And then he would bumble in and go, A. And you'd be like, but this is how this is planned out. Well, we should add this in. Like, Johnny Cage needed more screen time. But you're Johnny Cage. Exactly.
Yeah.
But, to his credit, he technically did own the production equipment,
the camera,
the 1.8mm camera,
and the cameraman.
Oh yeah, and the cameraman, his poor father. I remember standing out in the field.
Todd, does this bring back a good memory for you?
What's that? oh my god!
Jack's laugh.
Yeah, God, his poor father. I feel so bad for his parents sometimes because they gave him the world on a plate, and his dad. And I'm not gonna say I wish my dad was like his dad, but his dad did everything. His dad was a beast.
All of our dads did actually.
I mean, yeah,
all of our dads did a lot for our movies.
Yeah, but my dad didn't show up in the middle of the night to have us drive someone's head over with a car. His did.
That's true.
That's true. I don't think your dad. Your dad would never have done that.
But he did allow the garage, which took place like 80% of the film.
That's very true. How many people died in that garage is literally beyond me.
Or ripped shorts, or
ripped shorts,
kicked heads,
or the time that the one kid that was playing Shang Tsung almost fractured his ankle, or shite.
Yeah.
Oh man. So the thing about the Mortal Kombat was that the best part of it was the choreographed fight scenes, and in my opinion, the script was good, but you can tell where Ike had a creative control portion of it.
Not a lot of people understand is like you go shoot, you action, you cut, you film, you plan. Not too many people understand like what we did about 21 years ago. It was like action, record. We had one take to do it.
That's right. There wasn't multiple takes. We didn't have.
Listen, youngins, we're going back. Oh
shit!
Here.
We did not have Adobe Premiere.
No,
we had videotape duping
or Vegas, whatever the time.
I never used Vegas.
Either did I. I used it once.
I still have Premiere. I mean, I try to use Premiere, but it's so more advanced now that it's not as simple as 1, 2, 3 as it was before.
No.
But I mean, if I tinker with it, I'll get the hang of it. But to your point, the kids don't understand how practical effects work anymore. And if you're going to be in Hamilton Comic-Con this Sunday, which wait a minute, this is airing after Nightmare in the Falls.
Nightmare in the Falls. That's shaping up really well.
Yeah, we are going. So
I can get the day off. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll have an entire Walking Dead cosplay group there. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Paul Jones is going to be there. And Paul Jones, which you don't know his name, but you know his work, was the man who worked every Resident Evil film, worked every Silent Hill film, and I think he has a sleepaway camp under his belt.
Oh my. Really?
Yeah.
No.
I remember we had that idea. We should start having like a horror movie weekend. We'll just grab this movie we've never heard of, and it'll be okay. Why does she have a dick? and I remember your mom going, "What the fuck?"
I'm pretty sure, like, we woke up my parents when they were sleeping. I was like,
"No, your mom was up. Your mom was smoking in the." I remember, she was smoking in the kitchen, and I remember her just kind of like did one of these when we said, "What the fuck?" Her head,
it was like,
her head just kind of just peaked. Why does she have a dick? I don't understand it. This is a twist. I wasn't ready for the twist.
It was an okay movie until that 1 minute of the film.
Like, my poor eyes. I know where you're looking up. I'll look it up for you. I'll look it up for you here. Yeah. I'm going on the website. I like my design better, by the way.
Oh, yeah, no, it's awesome. Better than a phone.
Him.
Oh, yeah.
He was at Niagara Falls.
He was?
The one time you were there.
Okay, that's like 3 years ago, yeah.
Yeah. That's him.
Cool.
Hellraiser 2 and 3 Thing remake, Nightbreed, Bride of Chucky, Wrong Turn, Clive Barker's The Plague, Skinwalker's Goon. Oh, he did Goon the Last of the Forces, my favorite movie. Hobo with the Shotgun, not Hob with
Is that the sequel?
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Oh my god,
it is so gory, it's amazing.
Did Sean William Scott come back?
Oh yeah. Nurse 3D, Kick-Ass, Shoot 'Em Up. Oh my god,
Kick-Ass was good.
Kick-Ass was great, but yeah.
Anyway,
but back to that, the kids never understood practical. They have all these little fucking apps on their phones, and you can download the little fucking software.
So like we went like weeks planning like a shot that was like key to like whatever scene.
Have you ever seen the intro to Droids Canon on YouTube?
No.
It's the Marvel intro. You know how long it took me to make that? Days.
I know how it goes, man.
And I'm watching the YouTube video, and it's done in minutes. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not grasping this. This is not as easy as it used to be. I remember we used to sit there, and this is obviously after the summer of combat, I'll call it. We were in high school, and then that's when Premiere started coming out, and 3D Studio Max. And I could bang out 3D Studio Max like it's nothing. Like, all right, make it fly. I remember even making like a cool. I wish I still had it. It was like it had Rock Sockem coming forward, and as it came forward, 2 giant boxing gloves smashed together.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Actually, I have your video of what you did on PowerPoint on your computer, and somewhere on one of my tapes in the archive.
What are you talking about? What did I do on PowerPoint?
You did something on PowerPoint with like Rockem Sockem. It was like a cheap Rockem Sockem.
I don't remember that.
Oh, it's somewhere. I remember when
it's funny. I have not used PowerPoint since 2001.
I don't think anyone has
I started using PowerPoint because of work, so I'm doing a lot of things for work with PowerPoint now, and I'm like, oh my god, I used to rock the shit out of this. I used to make some really badass things in PowerPoint. Actually,
PowerPoint is one of the where I created the original idea for my Student X film. I did a quick little collage for something with the DX music and stuff.
How do you even export that into a video format?
I think we filmed it off the TV screen.
Oh, I remember.
That's how you filmed it.
Oh my god, we used to do the intro to Mortal Kombat, and there's Jack sitting there recording it on a chair.
Like literally, people
and you can see the glare in the background of you dressed up as Scorpion, Bobby Kish dressed up as Sub-Zero, and you just see the outline of Jack holding this, because we didn't have tripods back then. Stay with us, kids. No booms or anything. No tripods.
Yeah, man, we had no boom. We didn't even have a sound guy. We had nothing.
We had nothing.
It was just Jack. It was
a lot of yelling.
It was okay, and recording, action, and then we'd film everything, and then we would know where to stop so we can cut.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like the hours we spent. I remember doing the stupid cheap way of making sound effects of using Street Fighter 2. Remember that?
Yeah,
you just had to remember where it was when you were doing the dupe.
Up, down, thing, get to like the sound menu.
Yeah, you had to remember and you're doing the dupe from one VCR to another VCR, and you got to hit it just in time.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a pain in the ass.
Or how we get music onto it, we'd bring the good old boombox out.
Oh my god. Man, I tell you, life is a lot simpler. But anyways,
guys, I'm telling you, like, if we did Rock'em Sock'em now, like if me and Todd actually rebooted and like not remade all of our movies, but like if we actually did short
too
films
old
now,
too old.
Never too old, just no time.
No time. I mean, I got a career at this 45 hours a week. I got the.
Oh, by the way, like, I was gonna say at the top of the broadcast, I want to say congratulations on everything you've done with Droids. By the way.
Oh, it's been one hell of a ride. Like, I mean, how Droids has been determined in terms of keep going is that we base it by the previous year. If we do better than last year, we keep going.
Push, man.
I think, you know what? And I'm going to say this, and it's not like a swan song or anything. I think 2018 is going to be it. I think that's going to be.
This might be your breakout year, man.
It very much could be. I mean, we travel. We've met so many people over the years. We've met people.
I was looking at your site the other day. You got like 24,000 likes. That's amazing.
On Facebook, yeah.
Like what? 4 years? 4 years?
5
years?
She was born on a stormy winter night on December the 2nd of 2012.
5 years, yeah.
It's going to be 5 years soon.
Yeah,
I don't even know if we're going to celebrate it or anything. Maybe.
You have to. You got to do something.
Well, maybe. I don't know. Over the last 5 years, I can tell you, I've went through so many people. And
but that's business, dude.
It is business. You bring a lot of people in that are your friends, and you bring a lot of people in.
The one thing I've learned in the 20 years in making projects with a lot and working with a lot of people is you have to extremely choose.
And you got to bite your tongue a lot. Yeah.
Anyone on your friend list.
No. We're going to just take a quick break, though, because I need to put a commercial in. And it's going to be Clerks 2. R-rated. Yeah.
Is this where they go to find Lord of the Rings?
Be right back. Oh.
Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me. I'd fuck me hard.
Ew.
4 years ago, they were going nowhere.
You're 35 and making podcasts? Jesus! Anyone else from our graduating class back there?
Sadly, they're still around.
What I do is not a waste of time. We're all building towards something.
How about you build towards getting some fucking guests?
They're coming!
Another bad promo from the Droids Canada podcast.
People are crazy nowadays and will listen to anything. They even like it when you go completely off topic.
Comes the return of the podcast revolution. There's only one return, and it ain't of the king, but it's of the Jedi.
I think I'm going to start calling your friend Padme because he likes Anakin Skywalker so much. Danger! Danger! My name is Anakin. My shitty acting is ruining a saga.
Thanks, come again.
Droids Canada, Part 2.
Mr. Dan!
Leave Todd alone, AJ.
Don't look at his wee-wee.
Only at droidscanada.com.
Okay. Who's running this show? I'm running this show. Not you. I am. My house. There's no one here. I don't know. We're back from our break. Hope you enjoyed our Clerks 2 rip-off trailer, because I can honestly tell you Kevin Smith did. When I tweeted, he did like it, and he did retweet it. And I was very happy. Very happy. Anyways, we're still back in the studio talking to Mark Belanger, filmmaker, writer, actor, stunt double.
Anything else?
I'm trying to really, pump up your balls here. What am I missing? What else have you done? I mean, what else have you done?
Yeah.
I think that's it. That's it. I mean,
stunt double.
Yeah. You haven't done that. So you know what? Yeah, he's back in the studio. We're going to finish off the second half of this podcast. I have a feeling this is going to be a 1 of 2 series, but we'll see how this goes. Yeah, it's really feeling that way, and we're doing very well on time, which is weird. So we'll just work with it. So let's moving on, talking about film. Then we get into high school, and that's where we start really. I get more into horror.
No, I did horror too.
Well, yeah, we kind of went into it, but I mean, I got really obsessed with it.
When we went to high school, me and you did more of the film stuff with horror, comedy, and action. Then I kind of stepped back. I kind of went 2 paths. I went with you. Yeah. I went film with you, and then I did on my own with other people. Well, not my own. TV.
Yeah, I think, and then also in high school is where I made my attempt. I'm gonna say attempt to finish Resident Evil. We had a script written
before Part 1 came out.
Yeah, before any of that even happened. I think what motivated me to make this movie was Resident Evil 2, the video game. Because we logged so many hours in that goddamn game.
I can't count how many hours at your house, pizzas.
Oh, yeah, not even then.
Then the odd break to WWF SmackDown.
Sorry, No. It wasn't SmackDown. It was WWF Attitude. It was Attitude, yeah. Where you used to stay over and play it all the time. Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, your couch was good to me.
It was very good to you.
Once your parents went away, it was like, come on over. Hey, I'll see you in a week, guys.
Yeah, pretty much. And we started doing a lot more short films than before, because during this time, you purchased your own camera, and then I purchased my own camera, I want to say a year later, was it?
Yeah.
I bought Ike's camera off of them because he was upgrading to another model, or he just was selling it. I honestly don't remember.
I can't remember that point.
I remember paying like $300 for that thing.
I think he upgraded it.
The worst thing about that camera, though, and I don't know if he knew this, and I'm not making an accusation or anything, but there was something wrong with the cassette door, and I ended up having to throw it out.
Right, because we only used your camera like once or twice, and it was like done.
And that's really what really upsetted me at that point, because there was a lot of footage, and I still have the box of footage. I can't use it. I don't have an SVHS.
I do.
I told you this hundreds of times.
You never gave me the footage.
Well, I'm not going to give you the footage. I don't know what's on there. I might want to borrow the tape so I can look at it. I mean, I still have my VCR.
I'd rather watch it with you and just have a good time.
You better make sure I don't know what I did in my high school years. I'm just saying, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I did anything. It's possible. I'm not going to lie.
We're both adults. I can leave
the room. It's going to be a dick pic. You better get out. Oh, that was a good angle.
That really wasn't yours? I mean, hi.
That'd be kind of bad. Who's that? That'd be kind of awkward. So I started really getting into like a dark story. Yeah, I really wanted to write something really dark, and Resident Evil came, and I really wanted it to work. The problem was with Resident Evil, which is something I when I look back at it, the worst thing I did was cast myself as the main. And the reason why is not that
any of us in the actual project.
No, I wouldn't go that far. I would say I think that was too much responsibility of writing myself in as the main, and then with the writing with you, and then the directing, the producing, and the editing. But as you can tell for Droids Canada, nothing has ever changed. I'm still running everything.
You have to with certain things, though.
Well,
honestly, if I didn't do everything and would turn for the worst in Student X, I never would have done those movies.
I don't know.
Has to push.
Yeah,
do things.
I don't know if it stems from the trust issues that happened during director's cut. I remember showing up and almost beating the shit out of him that night. It was pretty damn close.
Yeah, I remember that heated conversation. I remember a lot of heated conversations.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I mean, what people don't understand is that when I have a project, and Mark does, Mark knows, when I have a project, I'm very passionate about that project, and I really want that project to work, and I dump everything I can, heart, blood, soul.
Ironically, whenever I've had a project, whenever you've had a project, and whenever number 3 has had a project, we've all put our heart and souls into those projects. It just seemed like whenever you two collided, it was like a 9/11 attack. Boom!
Well, the problem is that we had different opinions on how we wanted to approach things. He wasn't willing to get, and I'm going to say this, I won't say risque, but I would say he was not... Challenging, but he wasn't really willing to do at that time, because it's going to get darker later, kids. Hold on to your panties. Because it's going to start with Ultimate and then with Exodus, and we're going to have a huge fucking conversation about that. Mark, maybe, but you know what, Mark? That's what you grew from. And you have to accept the fact that, yeah, shit happened, and there may have been some things that came out of it that may still argue to this day. But you know what? It's fine. You grew from it.
I'll talk about this later, but to a point. But I learned so many do's and don'ts from that project alone.
We're jumping ahead because I know there's a rant. There is a whole rant.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think the reason why me and him collided so much is because he was a control freak.
Yeah.
2,
But Ike always wanted to be above you. I found.
It's because
you always wanted to be above him, so that's why you guys collided.
The problems we have is that the crew was loyal to me. Because it was my crew.
Everyone...
And every person that came into it, and you had your own crew too, that came into it, had a loyalty to me or you or both. He had no crew. He always was that person that'd be like, well, I have the money. And we're like, but we don't need the money. We've been able to figure this out. We were making
unfortunately
40-minute films of
If you look at our 60-plus... our 60...
Our 60-plus short films.
Short films. And that includes my
There's a lot of bad films. I'm not even a hardware series.
We'll get into that in a bit.
Plunger.
In those 60 films, excluding Turn for the Worst, Mike was probably in 2 of them.
Well, and that's where it goes to the point. What I was saying is... Yeah, I know you said his name. I'll cut it out.
Yeah, okay.
Who gives a shit? But Ike, whatever your fucking name is out there. And I just want to say this. Everyone thinks this is a bashing of an individual. It's not a bashing. I'm just telling the story. I'm just telling the story of it.
We're just telling him how it was. We're looking back on it.
I think, he had... Here's the thing between us and Ike. Me and Mark grew up with little. And as we grew up, we worked for every dime we had. We
still do.
From the day that we got in high school, we got jobs, we worked hard. Me and him would spend countless hours in his... was that a living room or dining room that your computer was at? Was it dining room? Dining room?
I'm going to say kind of like the...
Computer / dining room?
The whole house was like one big room.
Computer dining room. It was the dining of computers. There? No?
The computer had its own room, and then you
Mark is the type of guy to use the CD-ROM as a cup holder.
No, stop.
I saw you do that.
You know, it happened once.
But we would spend squelching hours, and I mean, sometimes the house was hot, and we would sit there, we're pouring sweat, we're editing footage, we're working on
editing on 2 VCRs, and not the computer like he was making it seem like.
That's not what I meant. Like writing scripts at the computer and trying to figure out, okay, where are we going from here? What is the and I say that the difference between us and this individual is that this individual had money, and he had the resources financially to say, tomorrow I'm making this, and he can go and do it. But what he didn't have was, one, the loyalty of the crew, and he didn't have, and he had, I don't want to say bad attitude, because that's not what I want to say.
Huge ego.
Huge ego. For someone who never has done any type of acting beyond these films. Never. Has he?
Let's be honest. We all never had acting beyond these films.
Well, I mean, I've helped write screenplays. You know what I mean? But here's the thing, though. We were fully ingrained in the business in terms of we did all those hours doing the editing, the writing, the blah, blah, blah. He'd just be like the guy that goes, okay, this is what I want to do. Mm-hmm. Let's figure it out and go from there. Which, that's fine. If you want to be the director, that's fine. I mean, that's how sometimes a director works. But we were doing all the back-breaking work in the locations and the costumes. Like, I don't even know where that fucking hockey bag is as I stare at you.
Yeah, thanks. My dad threw it out when he sold the house.
Oh,
yeah.
For fuck's sakes.
I had so much stuff in that one.
So many props in there.
You only want to know what my dad threw out when he sold the house.
But, and just not even that. He never made a phone call. He never called X, Y, and Z. I'm like, hey, we're working on this.
During this period.
During this period. Yeah, during this period. We haven't even got to his attempt. But I think, and this is a huge lesson to people who are listening to it, anyone that's a filmmaker or a would-be filmmaker
knows you have to do a lot of planning and
I'll tell you this right now. Do it for yourself and do it on your own steam. Don't take anyone else's handout. Do it yourself. Because I don't regret it. I mean, the biggest regret I have is never doing a full-length film, but it's not killing me. It's not eating me up inside. I can look back at this and go, I did a lot of crazy shit when I was a kid. Here's the footage.
You know what? Every once in a while, it's nice to look back and watch it.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I still to this day watch something that we did, and it's the shit we did then. I wish we did now and had exposure to this stuff. Mm-hmm. People today are so grateful with the media outlets they have now between Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, and this is shit that we all wish we had 20 years ago.
Man, imagine we had YouTube. Oh, I'm just saying that right now.
People, I'm really, really, really not bullshitting you here. The content we'd have, it would. The movies we'd have,
astronomical. It'd be
the stuff we did, man.
It literally would be astronomical in the amount of
shovels hitting my head.
There's a guy
stitches, or firecrackers going off from my ear. The list goes on.
I found the person that reminds me of our childhood. His name is Sean Ward. He has a show called The Sean Ward Show in Toronto. He is what we could have been if we came in this era.
Oh, God.
He has 800,000 subscribers. Why? He puts out a video every week.
That's pretty much what we did, maybe two.
I'm like, that's it?
Here's
One video? That's a slow week.
Here is how our movies came to be. Hey, Mark, you home? Yeah. Hey, so-and-so here. Let's go to the park. Okay. Hey, the Force has just happened.
Pretty much. And that's what
actually, we didn't even name it when we were filming. We named it after we edited it.
No, yeah, you're right. We didn't even do that.
We would, me or you would show up with whoever we can gather that night. 90% of the time, it was my house in my garage, or at the park, or once in a while at your place. And we'd film with whoever. We'd come up with a topic. We'd film it. I take it home, edit it. It'd be edited within 2-3 days, and we laugh and we have some beers and we laugh. I mean, orange juice at the time.
Orange juice. Yes, it was orange juice. No, sorry, it was iced tea. Hey, Dad, I'm just gonna give Todd this iced tea. Todd, I don't want it anymore. Mark, he clearly knows you're drunk.
Yeah, moving on.
I'll see you at home, that was a great. Come on.
I'll see you at home.
I'll see you at home. Had a little too much. Hey, man. I mean, That was the thing. That was the thing that I credit us for, is that the typical thing to do in high school was
party,
get drunk.
Have a good time. We would go out, make a movie, and once a week when the movie was done, we'd go to someone's house and just laugh our asses off and having fun watching a few of our movies we did prior to that and just have a good time and play some video games.
Yeah,
or watch wrestling.
Yeah, or watch wrestling when it still mattered.
When it was better.
I don't want
to start about wrestling.
Shots fired. Shots fired. I think in high school, we had a different outlook, and our outlook was, to actually become something, not just be like, "Hey guys, it's the weekend.
At the time,
let's go do some fucking drugs."
We were trying to build a portfolio to move forward with something after high school.
Well, yeah, that was pretty much what it was. I mean, we got into the movie industry, and it goes back to the whole Ike comment, is that we went in both feet, and we were doing everything humanly possible to progress ourselves.
We weren't getting our feet wet. We were diving in the deep end.
Where the individual to the side was just watching. And we weren't really talking to him at that point.
I was.
You were friends with him. And it wasn't that I was not friends with the individual. It was professionally, we could not work together. It got to a point that we couldn't work together at all.
The times we all got together, it was on a friendship level, it was fun.
Yeah.
But the second, I think that's what I was trying to do with Turn for the Worst. I was trying to find a project to bring all of us back together, and it just didn't work. But
that would have been bad, though. A Turn for the Worst was a good film, and if that was, that could have went bad for you. Because it could have. It's a huge crapshoot. It's a huge crap. Yeah. What's the killer's weapon? It's a hand garden hoe. Oh.
Garden rake.
Oh, really? Yeah.
The random scene with Orion with the random handsaw. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, I'd have to watch that film again. It's been so long.
You know what?
How did I die? Oh yeah, I got my head busted open ridiculously. I have to add that part in. I didn't really think about it till well after years later, where I was pushed into a wooden kids thing.
Kids, back in the day, playgrounds were made out of wood.
Yeah. Before it was plastic. So I'm like, okay, and I said to him, I'll just bust my head open. So I took out one blood capsule, and that's a blood capsule, not CGI. And I'm like, it wouldn't be that bad. And I remember rewatching that footage, my entire face is just caked. And I'm like, whatever. And then when he stabs me in the chest, mind you, one of the best blood sprays ever.
Oh, so that timing that was a one take.
That was a one take.
You can never do that again.
No, you definitely could not do that again. It was perfect, but then after, I thought to myself, what was the practical idea? Well, let's talk about Return for the Worst right now. We're coming to the end of the first part of one of our podcasts here, but we'll end it on a couple films, and then we'll just we'll record more. But what said I need to use a garden rake? What made you want to make a garden rake?
At the time, I was looking at a lot of the popular horror films at the time, like Scream had the simple knife.
You were looking. You had a hard on. It was ridiculous.
I was trying to do something different.
Something different. It was a slasher film.
Exactly, and I didn't want to take a machete. That was Jason Voorhees' weapon, and then the gloves were Freddy, and I'm not really going to use a chainsaw. And
God damn it!
Even that's going back to the '80s movies. But if you look at the '90s movies, you had
cleavers and butcher knives and just regular knives.
Like Scream had the knives, and I Know What You Did This Summer had the fishing hook.
Oh, the fishing hook was fresh.
I was just trying to do something different.
I still remember the pan shot, the opening pan shot of you just going over everything in the
everything
garage.
We had was on that wall in my opening shot.
And I remember watching that going, of all the fucking things on that wall, he said, garden rake. Well, I'm not knocking it. It's just...
Looking back, it's hilarious.
It is hilarious.
But looking back, hey...
But you took a gardening tool and made it a credible killing weapon.
Thank you.
Well, it was. Mind you, we would actually have to sharpen it a lot, but... It's possible. It's absolutely possible. You ever see John Wick?
Yeah.
He killed him with a fucking pencil.
Or Joker and Batman. I
have that knife. It's a beautiful knife.
Joker with the pencil. And
oh yeah, took the pencil through the eye. That was beautiful.
Hey kids, you want to see a magic trick?
Okay, so let's talk about...
You can take anything and make it into a weapon these days.
There's a lot of different... And I remember A Turn for the Worse, not to get back on topic.
Yeah.
That there was a lot of different treatments for that. Wasn't this the one that had the dark treatment of the pregnancy? Was this the one?
That's a whole different script, my friend.
Oh, what was the name of that script?
Enter My Darkness.
That's what it was.
That's the movie I want to make after everything.
Okay, now I remember.
That's another... Yeah, that's later. But yeah.
But, because I remember how dark you got. Like, you really went deep for that one. Which, that's kind of... Yeah.
That kind of molded in... I mean, Enter My Darkness is a script I have at home that
but how did you
come up with that one?
Well, not come up with Turn for the Worst, because it's clearly evident you're hard on for slasher films.
Also, I'm a huge Wes Craven fan. Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace. Yeah, he was a great guy. But what really drove to be your first full feature film? We never really had this conversation. We just kind of hey, Todd, I wrote a script, and I went, oh, cool. And we went. That's how it was in the '90s. It's like, hey, I wrote a script. What do you think? We can do this. And then we walked out the door and we started shooting it.
Okay, honestly, no, it really didn't matter what me and Todd wrote. It'd be like, let's do this.
Well, we can make it happen. It's possible. But what, of all the films you've done 3 or 4 now?
3 completed.
3 completed. You didn't finish one?
Well, never got a new project off the ground after that. Because, I mean,
later on when we talked about Exodus, Turn for the Worst, Critical Innocence.
Project, and I was just involved with it.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
Turn for the Worst, Student X, Critical Innocence.
Okay.
Enter My Darkness was always supposed to be my next film.
For some reason, I thought you shot that. I don't know why.
Oh, my gosh.
So, why was this the film? Why was this the film that you needed to do?
The horror genre?
Yeah.
At the time, as I said, Scream was popular back in 96, 97. I Know What You Did Last Summer was popular. Urban Legends, all those horror films at that specific time was popular. I said, hey, I'm gonna do it. Of all of our movies, we did more horror than anything.
Yeah,
and that's why I went horror for the first film, because we already had a lot of the props and the capsules and blood capsules and
we already had all
locations.
That
shit. It just. I look at all my movies, and each of my films worked at the time they were filmed.
Yeah,
actually. Turn for the Worst, as you know, I attempted to shoot back in '99.
Yep,
back at St. Mary's School with some people.
Yep, I remember that.
I don't know why. I don't know what made me want to shoot the final scene first, but that completely fell apart. And then I kept rewriting, and then back in high school, back in grade 11, I met the right people at the right time as far as my actors go.
Yeah,
because you were always involved with Turn for the Worst. Not so much Student X.
I had a slight hand in it, and in Critical Innocence, I was completely out.
That was just where I
lied. I just don't know where.
As I said, everything fell into place at each time period.
Okay. So, what is the film that is probably your least favorite out of those?
My least favorite is probably Critical Innocence.
Why? It's okay. It's been years. Move on.
Why?
What bothers you? Because you know what, in my opinion, your best film
was Student X.
Was A Turn for the Worst.
Why?
I personally thought it was the better film.
Why? I want to know why.
No, because at the time, you did have a hard on for the slasher films, but to me, that was the better produced one. The second one, Student X, was more towards high school, and that was more engineered for a credit, was it not?
True.
And
I'll explain that in a bit.
There were certain things you couldn't go. You didn't have that full 100% creative freedom if you wanted it. You couldn't have F-bombs.
Actually, originally, I don't really know how to talk about this yet, but originally, Student X was supposed to be an action project.
I remember that.
Because eventually, Student X was supposed to be almost like a Marvel's Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. type story.
Yeah.
Where they're gonna go fight stuff, almost like I was kind of combining 4 of my favorite shows at the time.
Yeah,
Power Rangers, Power Rangers.
Well, you had a lot of influences,
yeah.
But A Turn for the Worst for me felt like when I watch it front and back, that feels like to be the most complete film. That if you can walk away and say, my movie would be A Turn for the Worst. I agree. Critical Innocence, in my opinion, wasn't that great.
Oh, it was the worst.
And it has to deal with more not towards the directing.
I'll tell you why Critical Innocence was my least favorite.
The acting. I'll be honest. Be honest.
The idea was there, but honestly, the reason why I chose an action genre is I was trying to do something different.
Right.
Just something completely out of my box. And you know what? I praise myself for doing it. and completing it.
Yep.
Because I wouldn't have that film today if I didn't, obviously.
Right.
But most importantly, I stepped out of my box.
Yep, you tried something new.
I did it. But honestly, in my opinion, it was simply not a horror or a thriller movie.
What was it? Like, what would you classify it?
Action.
It was action?
Yeah.
What if you can go back and change something, what would you change about
the genre?
The genre? That would be the first thing. We got to get rid. What would you put it as? Like, I mean, that would be a.
To be honest, I wish I'd never filmed Critical Instance, and I wish I would have moved
just
on
went straight to Enter My Darkness.
Yeah.
Wait, I mean, I don't want to say it was a bad film. I'm not saying that at all.
Either am
I'm just saying out of the 3 you did, that was the weakest film.
I agree.
And that was
a lot of it was probably the acting.
The acting was the big shortfall.
Not so much the genre. Like the one thing I did like about Critical Innocence compared to the other two is they had a lot more different locations than the other two.
Well, things were different because, back in that day, we had licenses that, not a term for the worse. I think you hadn't even got your license at that point in term for the worse.
No,
none of us did.
Worst,
no, we were still, oh, I'm sorry, kids, this is called riding a bike.
Or the good old-fashioned, what's it called? Walking.
What?
Oh, sorry.
Well, that's pretty much how we're going to... Well, you know what? We're going to end this podcast here. We'll continue on into part 2. But, thanks for coming on to the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
Everyone's like, what? They were talking shit about someone and they stopped. Don't worry, we probably will later.
We've been trying to do this for years to get down here.
Yeah. So, we'll work something out. Make sure you have you on the show more often, though.
Oh, yeah.
So, thanks for everyone listening to Droids Canada. Make sure you're going to droidscanada.com, get all your updates, movie reviews, YouTube videos. I wish I did Twitch streaming, but I don't have time. Have a good one.